Well, hello everybody. How are y'all doing? So good to see you. Thank you, first of all, for dropping in, turning on, and adding to the conversation. This is a second look with me and my beautiful co-host, Miss Trina, and we both just speak favor over you all. Nothing missing, nothing broken. Speak it like you believe it, and if you don't,
Yeah.
continue to speak it and you'll start believing it. So much love. Hello, everyone in the chat room. So many good people. Mary Wins, how are you, dear?
Hi,
Grandpa
Mary.
Brian,
Hi,
he's in there.
Grandpa.
How you doing, Grandpa Brian?
Hmm.
Uh, Miss F. Kitty, how are you doing, my dear? Scotty boy, what's up? Good to
What?
see you, Emperor Rex. Um, so send some thoughts to Deborah Sloan. We all know she's always here at the beginning. Um, a lot of death, and she had some situations in her life that one death unexpected, and then another two that were in a um, automobile accident.
Oh,
And
Deborah.
yeah, and drunk driver. So yeah, so send her some love, send her some of that pick me up
Comfort.
vibration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Send the comforter.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's interesting because in my Christianity, one of the things of the Holy Spirit was called the Comforter.
hmm
Yeah.
There's many words for these energies, and um, the higher up the ladder you go, the more condensed the attributes are. So,
Mhm.
like the higher up the ladder you go, the bigger these entities' consciousnesses are. So,
Yeah.
it's like the comforter, all these names, they're consciousness, beautiful rays of consciousness.
There is just and as I understand it, is it Pluto and Neptune that are? I'm going to have Barbara DeLong on tomorrow, so
Yeah.
tune in, folks. I'm really looking forward. She has the round deck, the initiation deck, and when her and I were talking on Friday, we're in a position now where, and I happen to believe that astrology has a role to play.
I
I
do too.
mean, our species been using it for how long? Almost from the beginning. But
Well, I
apparently,
mean, it's just so simple. When you look at who really looks at Vedic, and it's always the Vedic sidereal
yeah,
astrology, because
yeah,
that's the true position that we're currently in the system. These are what the billionaires look at, not the millionaires, the
oh,
billionaires. So obviously, they know a thing or two about how the world is working. So if they're paying this much attention to it, you might want to do the same.
yeah, because we're in some strange area. And
Yes.
apparently Neptune and Pluto are in reverse or something. Anytime when this comes up, it says it's war.
Yeah, well, this,
What's it good
because
for?
yeah, well, Pluto's back. And the last time we had Pluto, we had the Revolutionary War. So
That's it.
this
Yeah. Thank
this
you.
is the cycle for that. And it's
Yeah.
definitely it's real, and we all know we are in a universe, a verse and a story. So when you look at the story, how do you know what the book is? We look at the Bible because it's got a lot of historical, like you can see, oh, this happened, the same alignments as this happened. Like the birth of Christ and all these things, those are all in the stars. So these people obviously are playing a stage play based on the calendar of the stars. So if the billionaires, they're going exclusively, a lot of this information is what they do all of their world planning around. So it's a big part of our reality that most of us don't really have a strong connection to.
Well, I get a peek of that because if you look at the financial markets and you
Mm.
follow, what stocks are moving, what are not. Um, I found out, oh, when I worked as a consultant for the Federal Reserve, it's when I actually found out that the Federal Reserve relies on card readers.
Astrologers,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. They do
Yes,
these
they do.
complex charts. They follow the sun every minute.
Yes,
Uh,
and the moon.
yeah, and here's something interesting about the sun. When the sun lets off a solar flare or a CME at Earth, the markets are going to react. And it's really strange, and they always do. And so, yeah. So,
You know why that is, Wayne?
come tell me.
Well, because the sun is the representation of the
Yeah,
current C. So the currency is very
yeah.
affected by the solar activity, but it's also very connected to the lunar aspects as well. So yeah, this is why they pay attention because they can tell when the system's going to be charged and when it's going to be depleted.
And again, the theme is, there is strong sorcery afoot. Um, and it was interesting again with this interview when Judith puts it up over on Night Flight Radio, was that the fact that my contention is that you look at politics now, and it is a game of Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah,
And these are humans that are
mhm,
reacting in these currents,
yes.
heavy, strong energy, and sorcery is afoot. I'm seeing it right now. It says if there is a curse, and I'll just lay it out there, a curse on the Democratic Party. Everything they do ends up in confusion and chaos. There's subterfuge going on. No one knows where anything is standing. Uh, and when there's confusion, it brings chaos and it just gets nasty.
You know why I think that's happening? Purely speculative, of course, but it's the shifting of the light. So now that the dark age is officially over and we've entered into the new, we're done with the Kali Yuga. So as we're moving into the positive aspects of the sine wave, which we ride on, which are long cycles of time, as we've crossed this threshold, the old energies are breaking apart and the new currencies are coming into the planet through the changes of our sun. So with this transition, I think the magic that they used to use is no longer working
Oh,
because
they're
it's
using magic. Let me tell you, they are using, you
I
know,
know.
and the suspicious nature that I'm, hey there, Jenny, how are you, my dear? Good to see you.
Okay.
Looking golden as always.
Thank you.
But just to finish the thought out, I know the man that defied, which now appears to be an inside job. I'll just put it that way. And foiled that. You know, I think the how shall I say, don't become so enamored with the individual because I don't think the hands are fully being played here. Getting back to with Judith yesterday, and when she puts this out, folks, you ought to watch it. So we got onto the point of what are we seeing is the New World Order. Well, the New World Order has a structure that they want to put every human being under, right? That is a form of,
Digitization.
yeah, I was going to say when you negate or subject a person's free will, that's sorcery.
Yeah.
And that's what politics does. It's the same thing as religion.
Mm.
If when I was in Christianity, as out there as a minister, um, the great command, go ye therefore into all the world. The idea is to conquer the world with this one thought. So
Colonizing.
yeah, and so we're seeing things being shuffled up here. Many people are saying that Trump is fulfilling prophecy. I don't know if he is or not. I don't know. I don't get into that. Prophecy is a matter of perspective. But what I do know is this, is that we live in a realm where we're taught that magic is only make-believe or sleight of hands. The fact of the matter, this world is magic. It is the occult of the ultimate journey. And it's only a very few. Listen, I have had people that I've known in business who think I've lost my fucking mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually had a person tell me, he says, Wayne, you have lost your fucking mind. What are you doing putting all these videos out? And as he said, and some of the most far-fetched things that he said, man, he said, that's not the Wayne Steiger I knew. He says that you have become something else and that I don't know who you are. And I said,
Evolved.
well, awakenings do that.
Yeah, they
And they
do.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And that's what they said. I get frustrated, I'm like, when are we people going to wake up to what's, potentially going on here? Because there's a lot going on that we just never saw
Holy
before.
shit, man.
And
It's
when
like you're up at bat and you're waiting for the ball to come at you. And all of a sudden, you got freaking balls coming from everywhere, you know? And you only got
absolutely
one bat.
right. Yes. Yes.
I
So
mean,
yeah, it's a conundrum because the people that are not going to wake, they've already made that decision. So many will be shocked and traumatized into some type of an awakening, but it's not going to be the kind that was initiated from true desire or intention. So the ones who have already chosen this, choosing's already done. Um, Literally, I know it's so hard to fathom this, but I know we already won. And it was through this heart choice a lot of people have made. And like I said, it doesn't take a lot to make a huge difference to shift time. And basically this
and
is, I think, what we're doing. We're having a battle over timelines right now.
think about this. Think about the New World Order not being that of human creation, but being of alien nature. So the New World Order is really an alien propaganda. It's a form of conquering us. It's a form of reducing, allowing us to be thankful for the little bit that we got when in fact we own the whole thing.
Yeah.
What say you, Jenny? Hi,
Hey,
sweetie. It's good to see you. How's Theo?
he's doing good. He's doing great, actually. He's off school, so he's super happy. He's still playing outside in the sunshine with his friends, so he's good. And Will got all A's on his progress report,
Way to
even though
go.
he's had such a tough year at school. And you and Trina know a lot about that, and all of the things he's transmuted. He's gotten all A's, which is like the highest mark that you can get.
Yeah.
So in all of his subjects. So yeah, I
Alpha
got that.
baby.
Way to
Yeah,
go, Theo.
Good job, Will. So
Yeah.
happy.
he's
Oh,
doing
Wow.
it. Yeah, so we're good, and I've been working real hard. Still waiting on this banking thing to be sorted. It's super difficult, especially since we had that thing happen the other day, the other week, last week was it, when there was a big crash? Well, that
Mm-hmm.
happened over here too, and my bank has been affected, so that's been delayed. But it's coming, everybody. It just means the website's gotten even more finished while I've been waiting. So that's, divine timing. Um, as
I
far
love
as
divine timing.
yep.
divine
It's
timing,
divine. Right
yeah, it
on
is.
time.
And you've got to just relax into that
Yeah.
sometimes. I find that
Plus.
difficult. Really good at it this last year, and I'm glad that I've been challenged in that part of me because it's a growth space that I needed to grow in, of divine timing and being reassured by divine timing. And you
Mm-hmm.
realize that something about the bat before with the balls, and the first thing that came to mind is that's when you put down the bat. When you've got so
Become the ball, right?
yeah, the bat is actually attracting the balls, when you keep holding that space for that interrogation of others saying you've lost your mind, of others that just don't resonate with you anymore. They are alien to you. So yes, this is an alien thing because these people that are doing these things right now have an alien consciousness to me,
Yeah.
completely alien, and they alienate, so yes, it is aliens, but which kind of aliens is debatable, but it's alien,
What
to say the least, um, that has been transmuted into some sort of very ugly consciousness that again, they're the ones that your bat can be attracting the balls of, you know. So it's like the Five of Swords, isn't it? That card where you, if you keep fighting, nobody wins. If you keep batting back, nobody wins the game. Nobody, and it's even the concept of winning and losing. Um, Even down to the fact that these people that are doing these things to oppress and control others, that's binding magic. That's oppressive magic. It's extremely dark, and their
So,
souls for it, you know?
Jenny, how would you and Trina, like it's your person. So we're into the Book of Enoch. I'll pick it back up on Thursday, but it's very clear when you look at it from a different set of glasses that what it seems to me that mankind may have not had really understood what magic was. It may be that it was an environment where we just didn't, we were living in balance with nature, and so there was really no need of that. And the story goes that these aliens came down and polluted the genetic bloodlines of humanity, but at the same time, it says that it taught us magic. It
Yeah.
taught us how to cast spells.
Think about too, I just saw in my mind's eye, and I think that was the introduction of electricity.
Could
We've
be.
that before, yeah, we've spoke, and it is there's different stages of entry points of huge shifts and huge trajectories of which way you're going to go on. You know, at first it would have been fire, you know,
Yeah,
literally,
yeah,
and air came
yeah,
together. That would have opened up a whole host of blessings, but a whole host of curses as well until you understand the fire and how it works. You could burn down a whole village if you're not putting
yeah.
rocks outside of your fire to
Or you can
stop
make
it.
hamburgers for the whole village using the fire.
That's, I
Yeah,
mean, it can cook you or it can feed you. I
Yeah,
mean,
or
it
okay.
can do
you,
both.
heal you, yeah, and warm you,
Mm,
or it can burn you. And so
yeah,
it's and then the we've spoken about this at length of it with the on this channel about electricity being another entry point. The Victorians had so much paranormal experiences all of a sudden
when they
that
plugged in.
like
Yeah,
all of their books were about that, all of the diaries
yep,
are about that,
yep,
particularly in the UK. All of this, when they got plugged in, that was a bridge to another dimension too that wasn't quite understood. When they wired that electricity into homes, it blew up. Paranormal activity blew up here in the Victorian age. And
yes.
again, they didn't quite understand it. There was somebody that I've had channel me before, and I wish I could find the quote that said, "Are you sure we should be doing this?" When the wiring was commencing into the homes. So again, that brought great health and great wealth, but also they didn't understand the other side of it too, the curses of it. And so we're taught these things, we're given these things, but without the full knowledge of these things for the both sides of them. So it takes us time to work out
Could
how to
I add
navigate.
one more aspect to that?
Yeah.
So, what did Tesla teach us? He taught us that there's
Quantum,
electrical currents that are unseen, which would
Mhm.
then
quantum.
imply that's the spirit realm. That's probably the realm all of us are bound for. We just put it in a different perspective. And if the earth
Yes,
has this connectivity of web that can't be seen, but we can plug into it, we can feel its effects, then that would suggest that the Earth is really more ruled in an unseen realm than it is in this density of what we call matter.
Of
yeah, this
course.
is a
Holy fuck,
manifestation
that's a
of
freaking
that.
thesis right there.
Yeah, yeah, manifestation, that's the process
I
of
mean,
it.
it's true.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's the
and that's what I see. It's all based from two elements, fire and water. That's
Well, you think about
everything.
the Babylonians, they had electricity.
Yes.
And we know, particularly
So
on
did
this channel,
Atlantis.
yeah, so their magic was that they had a direct connection directly into that ethereal or that current or the currency.
with them, they were
Yes.
actually channeling it from the ethers. That's where we get the big copper
Yes.
spike
Yeah, yeah.
in the book. So they weren't actually, they were grounding it before it was reaching the people. So that would be a much healthier way to experience electricity. The old buildings in the UK, they try and tell us these fireplaces are fireplaces. They're not actually. They conducted electricity from the top of
Well,
the
The
building.
antenna. Yes,
well,
and brought
don't,
it down.
well, each of us, we have our own current. You can measure it. I have
Yeah.
a meter right over here. You can measure your current going at, yeah, I mean,
You ready to hear this new one, guys? They're putting biometric code readers over grave sites, and they're throwing out code on people born deceased after 2008. You can take these meters and put them over the graves, and some of these things are shooting out binary code. So that means we've been connected on a whole new level.
well, I just want
Absolutely.
to say hello, everyone in the chat room.
Mhm.
Very active in there. Thank you. Much love to you. Well, it's remarkable because I think there has been a shift in this ethereal realm. Um, Again, I just go back to my occult teaching, which is decades and decades into Christianity. Nothing happens here before it happens up there.
That's why we can see and prove that we are now we have literally connected to the 5 dimension. That's why it's the 5G networks. That's why all this stuff is here, because they're showing you when we first connected to electricity, the supernatural activity went off the charts. We first saw it with the telegraph. It started with the telegraph, and then a lot of people got sick. These new frequencies are hard for a lot of physical bodies to process. And then we went from that to electricity. And then we went into the what was the other system? And then we went into digital after that. So yeah, every time we shift these systems, it affects humanity in a powerful way. And we've seen this throughout history. So we've just entered quantum now, which
Well,
is a
people,
new level.
when if you extrapolate from this fact that as above, so below, vice versa, but it has to
Mhm.
start in the unseen realm.
Correct.
So I can still remember one of my teachers, Lester Summerall, and that was how he explained people can see into the future. Because
Yeah.
what they're really seeing is what has already transpired into the spiritual realm. There is a time lag
Yes.
between these two realities.
Yes.
And if you're gifted like Jenny with reading the cards, with you and your modality work of working with energy, many times we can see this, and the average person can also get these glimpses. That's where we can see these events before they actually happen, which then
Yeah.
suggests that if you can change events in this unseen realm to manipulate this realm down here, how would we combat that?
Well, that's the thing. All of these different modalities that we've spoken about and the trainer's just spoken about, the problem is we allowed people, the hijack was where we allowed people to not collectively be a part of something where we could transmute the etherical energy, the 369, the magic, the coil. And then we were jacked into the wiring. But again, there was very few controlling the many. All of these modalities have been to take away the natural connectivity and embracing of the unseen, bringing it into the seen. And they've put it in the control of the few over the many. That's where the problem of the modalities come. Can you imagine if the internet wasn't a monopoly, which last week proved when one thing went down because it's such a monopoly, so many things went down, airports, everything, because it's a monopoly. So that's one of the problems. And so imagine if it wasn't allowed to be profiteered from or monopolized, what kind of space we could build here. It would be amazing. It would be truly amazing.
If you believe the narrative, this pre-Adamic world where we have evidence of trees being just, a half mile or greater in circumference,
Wayne, you
that
can see them here in the
yes,
deserts. You can see them. They look like the mountains, and you can
yeah,
see it. We've got one
yeah.
here called Red Mountain. You can totally see it's a tree stump. And what I've been noticing too is there's something about this area. We've got pyramids everywhere. the symbologies
Hmm.
on our freeways. So this must have literally been ancient Phoenicia, I'm pretty sure. And this
Could
was a
be.
major city at one time. So I think right beneath us is unbelievable stuff. And of course, what they found at the Grand Canyon, they found the Templars and Egyptian evidence in Tucson. We have giants everywhere. So, and all of it's been destroyed, hidden, off limits. Did you hear now too? They've completely shut down Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise
Really,
me.
Oh
I, you
yeah,
know,
no one's allowed in no more. They found something there, so now it's completely locked
something's
down.
woken
No,
up.
yeah,
there is a
Something's
theory
woken.
that says the reason why we don't have any writings or any thing from these earlier civilizations is that because they didn't need it. They were telepathic on a level that they did not have to have the use of a written
that's true.
language.
That would make a lot of sense.
And
And
a lot of
thus
it.
the reason why we find very little evidence
But see,
of,
that's the beautiful thing. We have that
we
still.
had it. And I think you're right.
No,
I
no,
think we
no.
still have
Not
it.
not had, have,
No, I
have,
get that. Yeah.
have.
But if you look at the conspiracy theory of fluoridating the water, of which they do here in the United States, I
How do
Yeah,
mean,
you?
fluoride has been shown directly to calcify the pineal gland.
yeah.
Isn't it?
And so, it seems like upon our death, there's a gland within the pineal gland that activates right at the moment of our transition. And
What
so,
are they blocking?
yes, exactly. Thank you. That is
And
the point.
I came across a study this week. My mum's got this lovely Labradoodle puppy that I'm looking after during the day, called
Labradoodles, I love
Dolly
that.
Porton. She's huge. She's called Dolly Porton, and she's lovely. And she's I'll share some pictures of her, but she's light haired, and she was getting staining here and staining on her genital areas when she'd been having a wee. So I started looking it up. I just intuitively didn't like it. And actually, that is the effect of fluoride and heavy metals. So
Yeah.
I came across a study where they said, don't give your dog tap water if they've got light hair, because the heavy metals, you'll see the staining. So we don't see that staining on us. But if we put some light fur or some light material constantly under our eyes to catch it as the water, or if we were just collecting, we would see actually this copper staining that happens that shows the level in the UK in particular of the heavy metals and fluoride. It's the only thing that can stain them that way. And so, again, what are they blocking when you can see that made manifest in front of you, the effects of it, seeing it literally staining the exit points of where fluid comes back out of the body. It's horrific, and that's what's been being done to us deliberately on purpose to block what we do here and what we bring from the unseen while we're here, and to try and block the transitions. And I would say there's a lot of that energy at the graves that they're picking up on, Trina. I wonder how many energies are actually trapped there because they were blocked with that kind of poison from
And
getting out. All just, it's a
well, this
thing.
is like going exactly to what you're speaking about. It's like all of these heavy metals that are being introduced. I mean, we look at obviously now they're talking about what's been sprayed. That's all aluminums. All of these metals now have gotten into us, just like the plastics. See, this is the transformation of the human body necessary to connect to the new system. So this is why this is being done. But the thing is that we literally can alchemize and transmute these things and get rid of the metals and clean the water and do these things. So
Yeah.
it's game on. It's a battle, and you're right. The battle is to get a hold of the mental faculties. But we got to remember we have more intelligence in our heart than we do our brain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
But
you have to go, you think about the removing of fluoride. So we have been
Mhm.
indoctrinated here in the United States within the last 60 years or so when they started doing this, that this is somehow healthy. It provides good dental health. And if you have good dental health, then you typically would have good coronary health. And then you actually have in the dentist that they want to put that fluoride and soak your teeth into it. So my point is, even the toothpaste and the mouthwash that you use, unless you specifically go for the ones that have no fluoride, which I
Yeah.
suggest,
Yeah.
um, it's and someone wrote in the United States, I think we're just one of the few industrial nations still doing this.
Oh, it's so funny too. You look at toothpaste. If your child induces or ingests toothpaste, call poison control immediately.
Yes, yes.
That's
Well, I
on the
make our own
toothpaste.
toothpaste. Yeah.
Yes,
And
it's on the
check out the
toothpaste.
toothpaste on the website, actually, the tooth powder that I make. It's
Yeah.
totally natural, great for the teeth. And it's great for the kids too, because
Yeah.
it is important. We can clear ourselves with this stuff, but there is a limit to what the body can take, and the body is a transitional bridge
Yeah.
to different spaces. And so, and we should try and leave the body as temple-like as possible. You know, however we
Mhm.
end it, whether it's burning, burying in water or whatever, we should cherish it the way we would a plant or anything else, in that we want to keep it because it does have an effect on the bridging of the other aspects of you. That we're all parts of an extra part of self. So the more we can look at these extra parts of self and prevent. So I'm giving the dog distilled water now, just like us, and adding the Himalayan salt and
There you
magnesium.
go. Say, but you're putting the salt back
Oh,
in.
yeah.
Good job,
When
Jenny.
you
Good job.
when you distill, water has memory. So when water goes in the body dehydrated, which is what the distiller does because it strips everything, cleans everything from the water. If you put just distilled water back in the body, it'll actually go to the cells and say, gimme, 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 to rehydrate itself. And you just pee it all out and you end up more dehydrated than you were before. So you must
Without
add
salt.
minerals back to the water, and you must remineralize it, otherwise it's bad for you. So again, it's the knowledge of that too. You think you're doing the right thing, but until you know to remineralize it and give
Uh-huh.
yourself, then it'll go to those cells and your cells will say gimme, gimme, gimme,
Yes.
rather than
So
the way
if
around.
look at this on a society scale, I mean, it shows you how controlled and how manipulated we are. I mean, in our
Yeah,
very freaking water. So you're trying to counter the effects that's in the water that's been quote unquote approved for you to consume, which has all these contaminants in it. That's what I'll call them. And Jenny, then like you were saying, so you get distilled water that takes all those contaminants out, but our bodies require a certain amount of minerals and metals
Mhm.
in order to function properly. Why
Yeah.
can't they just give that to us to begin with?
because then they
Because
wouldn't.
we would get too smart.
Thank you. You
That
know,
was my profiteer. That was good. That
it's
would
like,
be good.
son of
Those
a
puppets
bitch.
would cut those strings.
Why does it have to be? It's like Pelosi telling Biden, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. I mean, why can't we just have it the easy way? You
They
know,
don't want us
no, you
raising
know.
kids one another. They don't want us putting the
Because
guns.
then, if you get into what you were saying, Jenny, if I have to add minerals back and salts, well, then that means that's alchemy, right? I mean, I'm
Of course it
using
is.
and manipulating different substances in order to do my body good.
Because with the distiller, you can actually collect
Yeah.
the essence. That's how you collect essential oil. And I've made my own distiller with two pressure cookers. It's great. And you can make your own essential oil really cheaply with two pressure cookers and a bit of rubber hose. But that is the process, that is the top layer that is left after the distilling process. And if you can collect it through the steam, that's essential oil. That's how you make essential oil. So it's all from that one vat of water. You can give your body multiple modalities of healing and replenishment. We could have that in the tap. We could
So,
have that.
Jenny, hear me on this. So, I like Moonshine with the series because it's powerful alchemy working here because you're dealing with distilled spirits. And the thought hit me is that Well, if I can make a spirit of, in this case, a certain proof of alcohol, right? And if you consume that, well, you're going to be in an altered state because
Mhm.
you're consumed what was part of the spirit, the ethereal, in this distillation process.
The
And I'm
essence.
so I was wondering if you could like anoint water. And let's say that this water was meant specifically for healing and use that same intent. And who knows, there may be certain ways we condition the water. And that as it would go through that distilling process, what would be coming out would be what I would call concentrated um, spirits, because
Elixir.
it's the same process. It's
It
not going to
is.
be alcohol because there's no need for it.
Restructured. It's restructured back to its
Yes,
essence.
thank you.
Right, yeah.
Restructured back to essence, and one drop of that can hold the memory of 100 lifetimes.
So if we were to intentionally use our magic in this, why wouldn't it work? And I'd love to talk to someone who'd be willing, if you have the ability, well, Jenny, like you have a still, if you have such a still, I would like to, I think that would be a really cool project. I mean, why
I'll
wouldn't
send
it work?
you of it. Yeah, it would work. And what I
It
do
would
with
work.
alcohol
Thank
is
you.
all of our alcohol, we're not drinkers, but what is a tincture? A tincture is alcohol that's been infused with properties. So if you look at my mum's drink cabinet, she's not a drinker, but she's got all sorts of gins and vodkas. They're all stuffed with raspberries, strawberries. The minute she gets it, she opens it up and she's stuffing raspberries in, or strawberries in,
Hmm.
or leaves in, or chilies in. And of course, that whole time she has that bottle for years. That whole time, as long as it's 40% proof, that whole time it's distilling, it's creating an
Preserving
elixir
it.
of all of the fruits, and it actually completely changes, like Trina said, it restructures it to a healing modality rather than a modality that's going to kill your liver. But you're giving your body something then, rather than just, and you're showing love. You're not then drinking just to forget and numb something and get into that altered state.
Well,
You're
that's what I
drinking
call it, spirits.
medicine. Yeah, you're drinking it as a medicine, and you're revering it. You've added nature to it.
I have
It's
seen, I was a bartender at one time, and I look back now and I can testify that the same kind of spirit will have a different effect on different people.
yeah,
Yes.
you can tell,
Yeah, you
can't
really can. I mean, you've got those, which I call the lightweights, those are the beers and your wines. But when you start getting into the hard liquors, whether it's the clear or the brown, I mean, it has the most, and it's got an effect on everybody. Yeah. Don't tell me that isn't of the ethereal realm. That's,
you?
and I talked about demigods.
I'll be right back.
Oh, okay, sweetie.
Okay.
Well, it's just you and I now, Jenny.
You know, yeah, in the bar, I could tell when people walked in the door what kind of reaction they were going to have, but also spiritually, the bars that I worked in, the attachments that you would see flood through the walls to these people. Some of them beautiful, and you would see these people dancing with these spirits, not even realizing, that they were dancing with spirit. Other people, you would see this horrific thing, and the next thing you know, they'd be fighting, or they'd be arguing with somebody, and you could see it. You could see them around them, sitting on their shoulders, and uh, the bridge was made with that alcohol, it's when it's done unknowingly, you see people get into trouble, or you see people have a lot of fun. It's
The
depending.
girl that I
That's
was
right. Keep
running this
seeing
bar
when,
with, what's that, hon?
well, when we always talk about how do we find essence? It seems that the process of distillation is how we connect to essences of things. So there's something very powerful there with distillation of the water, restructures it, and you become once again completely embodied with spirit. So
Yeah,
there's
I
something
mean,
to this.
uh, the gal that I ran the bar with, Karen, still remember, we would drop hits of LSD or sometimes, take psilocybin. And it was really interesting because you could, I swear, you could see the spirits falling, like you were saying, Jenny, when they come in the door, they're right there with them. I mean, it's like they're almost attached to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because then you're right. You can see certain people who become very violent, and then you have, I'll tell you, the worst drunk I ever had to encounter was a drunk woman, particularly
Yeah.
one that has been cheated on and is just recently. And OMG, I mean, I should have charged, a therapist fee for,
Yeah, that would have been good for me. Yeah.
anyway, I digress. But Trina, you're absolutely right. Isn't that what holy water is supposed to do? Isn't it the
Funny.
whole idea? You have a priest blessing it and it changes the molecular values of the water, right?
Absolutely. And Bonnie's just said then, I nearly said this earlier. You said what would be coming out of the tap, and I was going to say love, because, it would be love because it loves the body when water is restructured, like Trina explained. And Bonnie has just said there in the chat, water frequency is 528, same as the love key. So that's why they've done the water. That's why they attack the water. They know this. They know that actually, if we were getting the water just easily as we should. And they haven't just gone that far. The UK waters are poisoned. The rivers are poisoned. We can't let our dogs swim in the beautiful rivers that we have. They are so poisoned and so full of parasites to the point where nearly the whole of the UK is in red as far as parasite infection in the water, antibiotics in the water, fluoride in the water. It's actually 3 times or more above the safe amount at the minute in the UK, and that includes the sea surrounding this island. So they've done it deliberately because it's the same as the LSD. When they give it to the soldiers and they're like, we can't use this, we can't have this, they're just hugging trees, they don't want to fight anymore. It's that's what would happen. The love key would be coming out of the tap.
So
You know,
speaking of that, so if we could capture the essence of love, and love has a frequency, it has a vibration. Uh,
Yes.
the Japanese have shown us, and now we all know it, that if you cover the water you're going to be drinking and just speak over it and send into it that intention of love, whatever it may be. So follow me on this, ladies. So if I can inject into my body an essence that, let's say, is highly concentrated love, as that water is absorbed into my body, it begins to break down all the way down on the cellular level. Now, follow me on this. If I was able to send something into a body, my body, let's just say, um, and let's just say there was a cancer. And a cancer is basically a healthy cell that's gone crazy. It begins to replicate itself, and that begins to have the chain reaction. So I'm thinking on this. Actually, I woke up thinking about this. So if I could send love on a cellular level, in this case, it would be an H2O type of absorption of the body, and that would then attach to this cancer. It says love covers a multitude of sin.
Yeah.
There's nothing that can beat love.
Yes.
Do you see where I'm coming? And
Yeah.
I'm thinking as a layman that if I could think of this, then why couldn't a microbiologist think of the same thing?
It's a thing they do, and they
Yeah, I
know, but
think
they're
they
not
do.
allowed. They're not
Doing
allowed.
it.
They put frequency into the ocean where the coral reef was dying. Hutchinson did this. Man, they shut him down, yanked his research. They know how to fix this world, and they will not do it.
So
But
that
we
tells me
can
then
do
there
it.
are some very fucked up deities that are ruling this world then.
Only for their time, but their time is now over. So they did have this
I'm
for a
all for
long
evictions.
time, thousands of
Yeah.
years.
You're fired.
Yes, expired. Yes, yes.
But you see where
They're
you see
expired.
where I'm going with that? You know,
Remember, Wayne, when you did that show years ago, and it was like there's something about the water, and I was like, if we could heal the water, we could heal the world.
mhm.
This is the simplest, fastest remedy to fix this planet. If everybody could just understand this one thing, that all things are connected through water, because I think water is soul. Water is the image holder. Fire is the spirit. It's the inspiration. It's the image being sent into the water, but they are one and the same. They
But if the
work
water
together.
is polluted, then no matter what my spirit wants to
No,
send
no,
into
no.
this
The
realm,
spirit will override the contamination because all things love to attrain, which means
yeah.
naturally things love to heal. They love to vibrate higher, and they will attrain if they're exposed to that higher vibration. And they automatically, their body just does it
Yeah.
automatically. So, no, we
See.
can affect. And this is the thing. If we could just focus on this one thing, is to heal the water within and without, as above, so below, as within, so without. So be it. Heal it with love. Love is the highest power to
No,
transmute all illness,
what I've said,
darkness.
but
Yeah.
Trina, I think that if we have to admit there
There
are
are
so
people
many
who,
bodies out there that are contaminated. The food we consume,
Mm.
again, what we drink, and in this case, we're drowning in a world of sugar where everything is highly sugarized. And I'm telling you, I think that there is that this is what hinders the spirit from being able, because if you
Yes,
fast,
it's all they've got.
yeah, and
It's
if
how they do it.
you get into a serious fast, you're basically purifying or you're plunging the body out, cleansing it.
Yes,
And you have more energy, you have clarity of thought, higher creativity.
because your water's getting clean.
Yeah, and,
Yes.
my point is that we sometimes say there's such a lack of spirituality or awareness in the world at large. And
Mhm.
I often wonder if what we're consuming, what they're feeding people, has a direct repressive a ceiling on the
course,
spiritual aspects of most men and women and
and
children.
they're choosing it. That's the thing. In that, I totally agree with Trina, but there are people here that actively choose not to, that actively choose the opposite of what we see as love. They
Hmm.
actively crave the foods that hinder their spirit, that make them sluggish, that make them slow, that literally clog up their arteries. Um, and then there
Yeah.
are people here that actually crave the evil acts that they do. I think we've got to admit that there is lots of different levels of different beings here, but there is a very definite split of a consciousness that I described before that actually actively chooses to be how it is, oppressive, controlling over others, because this isn't by accident. None of this is by accident. And there are many human beings like us in corporations that are choosing to continue to do this rather than choosing to say, let's all live in a utopia. Let's stop poisoning the water. Let's stop pushing the poison foods. Let's all live in a utopia. There are beings here that not just actively choose, go out of their way to create things. So where they see an opportunity for love in the water or love in the food, they push a load of KFCs on every corner. Or they control it by giving us taps that are really convenient, but those taps are going to be filled with faucets, I think you call them, but they're going to be filled with poison. So whatever we are seeing the love and the beauty and the surrender to being connected to one another in nature and spirit, the unseen, you can look at that and say, okay, so I know what their plan is because it is directly opposing that. So where we see food as a beautiful thing and fasting to cleanse the body, they say, put lots of things out there that are addictive, put lots of restaurants out there that are filled with sugar. they actively researched sugar for many years to make sure that those cravings and those blocks would happen. So there are people here that otherwise we wouldn't be experiencing what we're experiencing right now. We wouldn't be seeing the trauma here right
Well,
now.
I think another contributor to that is technology. Technology is very dirty. I mean, heavy
Yeah.
metals are in the screens, the keyboards, the circuitry. We throw away hundreds of metric tons each year into landfills of heavy metals, highly contaminated material. Um, I think that this internet has contaminated the initial pure ether electricity, that it has somehow changed the dynamics of what was once a untouched natural process. Well, with the internet and the way it's now doing now, everything is controlled by this. And in its essence, it's very polluting. It's not only polluting to the earth, but it's polluting to us.
Don't get me started
I
on
think
electric.
Well,
that's
yeah,
I
I
think
do
that
want to get you started. Go.
yeah, I think this is so strategic that okay, they give us all these systems that make our life easier. That's
Hmm.
how they've initiated the complete absolute control over our physical being because they've kept us separate from the earth. We wear shoes now, we don't conduct to the earth, we're not grounded. We've got
Well,
all
it's
this
like Jenny
metal.
says, the earth is polluted. I wouldn't want to put
Yes.
my bare feet in the river.
Well, it's so funny. I bought a grounding mat, so I'm shooting the frequency in my body through a
Yeah,
grounding mat, which I know it's clean. So there are ways to do these things, but this is the thing. We literally were cut off through these technologies and these conveniences because I have a feeling they knew at this time when we reconnect to what we are on, which is this earth, and we start to reconnect to each other a lot of this stuff is literally going to literally dissolve. The frequency will dissolve it, just like we do
The
in our
way
body
it
when we
seems to
heal.
be going, we may be witnessing that dissolving. I mean, um, if you apply that to the modern, looking at America right now, we are in political turmoil. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, and we're not alone. I know the UK, y'all got your issues there. I spoke to Judith
same
yesterday.
issues.
And in Germany, it's like, they're going down roads. And it's like I told her, I said, didn't your country not learn from all this? And it's everywhere. And I'm going to myself, then why? It seems to me that this may be cosmological.
It is.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
think the influence of the planets, you know, J- Jenny, I saw you pulling the cards. What are the cards telling you, dear?
Oh, I wasn't, no, but I can, yeah. So, okay, I've done this for a while. I've been working on the website. Let's go,
No,
baby.
right.
Oh,
Let's go, baby, go.
oh, let's go. Get those
I
cards.
love it. Hello,
Oh,
everyone in the chat room. Much love.
God,
I'm seeing the comments going by fast, and you know, Goddess Sabina, I see Gaia and Nina and all the Paul Joe. Good to see you. S. Lee, gonna get S. Lee and I are gonna get together. Um, yeah, off the
baby.
hook. What's
Oh,
happening?
wow. So let's talk. Let's talk.
Let's
Okay.
talk.
Let's talk. Let's go. We'll do a quick no BS tarot. I'm glad you said this. That's cool. So we've got the Six of Swords. Now the Six of Swords, I'm not doing the right camera. The Six of Swords, you can see there, there's turbulent water on this side of the boat. Excuse the gardening fingers. We've got air because that's what the swords represent. So that's words, air element, intelligence, intellect, knowledge, wisdom. And then on the other side of that boat that the family is in, and the divine masculine you can see is navigating it. The divine feminine is tending to that air, and the others in the boat. The other side of that boat is more serene water, still water, and there's a horizon on the other side. So this would speak to the alchemy of being able to do exactly what we, and I love the cards, exactly what we've just been talking about. alchemize in the water, in the through the words, through the swords, through the wisdom, through the unseen, through the air, you are actually transmuting the water from chaotic waters to calm waters that reveal new horizons. But it's about applying the words, the wisdom, the knowledge to that water to reconstruct it, just like Trina said before, which is I love the cards. To bring a balance, to bring a more serene, healing, loving water, a loving space. 6 being man, also bringing that into the physical body. So you're bringing it from the unseen through the water into the physical structure of the body, creating new horizons. Then
Yeah.
we've got judgment, which is a major arcana, number 20. You can see here these naked people are rising to a frequency. And a frequency, the cross has got nothing to do with Christianity. It's more to do with the cross that's in the brain, the balance of you. And you see they're rising naked from watery graves. Now, the watery graves would be that they've emerged and they're coming up naked unto themselves and to nature, connected to this frequency that is drawing them up from this watery grave. So the
Alchemy.
judgment alchemy, the judgment speaks, and you can see there's a body of water between, and on the other side of that body of water, there's more people. That would speak to the split of different people reacting to the frequencies differently and having a completely different experience, i.e., timelines splitting.
And the
Uh,
4 elements being born into the 4 cardinal points, which
born,
direction, yeah, yeah,
and that's the cross. You saw right, Trina, that's the cross. You can see the
yeah.
4 white squares that the cross
The
creates.
water going into the elements to create life.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And then we've got, these are all major arcanas, by the way, carried by a minor arcana that carries them all into this physical. We've got the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is that wheel that it's going to keep spinning. You can either go against it and you're going to get spun off. You're going to maybe have some chaos in your life, or you can go and it's got the major arcana energy all around it, or you can go with the wheel. And with the wheel, that's the wheel within you that connects to the wheels within the etherical. And it
yeah,
speaks to, you creating this, the frequency, the way that you speak to your water, the way that you treat your wisdom, and the way that you rise from that watery grave, and what frequency you choose to respond to and choose to transmute with will determine how the wheel goes for you. But in general, it will determine, this is a wider reading for the collective. After that, we've got the Hierophant, which is the number 5. So the Hierophant, you can see here, speaks wisdom to these people here that you see on the bottom, and they have the traditional shaved heads here. The reason they did that was because they believed that they would needed the hair to cover the antenna here to receive the information, to receive the knowledge from the Hierophant. Now, the Hierophant is the number 5, and you can see here, he's got his fingers up, his 2 fingers up here for the peace. He's got his staff here to transmute, and he's speaking from a place that's set above the people that he's speaking to. This would be, don't cast your pearls before swine. That's saying, because, and that's a really important message right now. So those balls that keep coming at you, where you're batting them off, drop the drop the bat. And then he said a swear word there. That's how serious it is. Drop the bat, because if you're giving wisdom to the wrong people, either they can use it for bad intent, or they can twist it, or they lessen it because they repeat what you've said, but without the wisdom behind it. So you get parrots, but giving the wisdom to the right people, to the right things, in the right way. Literally, you, like Trina said, you see them transmute and flourish and gain, and are able to do this path in a way that is a key. There's 2 keys here crossed at the bottom of the card. It's keys to wisdom, keys to other realms, keys to other abilities to have that knowledge, transmute it, and use it in your wheel to get to the waters that you want to get to. I love that. Thanks, Wayne.
Well, I tell you, I thought it was, hey, I just go with what the spirits say. Thank you, Jenny. What's that? What's that, Trina? You're muted, hon.
sorry, I got landscapers. So I keep shutting the boot off so you can Yeah, but can I read to you all what I just wrote? It just matches with what Jenny and what we're all
Sure,
talking about.
sure.
Yeah.
I saw this about a week ago, and it was called The Sovereign Soul. How do we get back to the sovereign soul? And it was, I kept seeing the pyramids. I kept saying, what is all these pyramids? What are all these pyramids? So what they were showing me was that the soul and the spirit are merged through the conceptualization of the mind, which gives you the purpose to see. So through the mind, we can see and put matter and spirit together. And that's the concept of the Christ, or the all-seeing eye we see in the triangle. So they're showing me this is literally the observation of the two witnesses that are in you, which is soul and spirit, or fire and water. The oldest symbols represent the Christ consciousness, or the all-seeing eye, the observer. The fire is the logic, the image, the similitude, the causal, the thinker. Water is the soul, the emotional body, the feeling, and the matter. The
Love
Trinity
that.
is always the 3D, and the pyramid is the foundation of all the threes. The spirit and fire merge in their Trinity power to produce the manifested form that you feel is real. When we look at the alcohol, spirit is alchemical. Spirit is the process of distillation. Alcohol is made and it is creating spirits. How do you get to the spirit? You have to distill. You have to release and remove all the density and the particles and the metals to get back to the essence, the spiritual essence of you. From water to wine, from water to blood. Spirit is now coating with the energies of decay, but we can turn them around into regenerating light, and we can switch the programs through the coating of the blood, through the distillation of you. What are we as atoms? We are not just flesh and blood, you see. We are consciousness swirling patterns of beautiful energy, both etheric and electromagnetic. Your collective consciousness is due to the subatomic entities in the conscious field. All things are energetic expressions of their own conscious awareness. This is the light essence. Everything is consciousness, its own structure or own template, manifesting in a sea of energy of possibilities. You are an expression of trillions of cells or subatomic entities moving at light speed, but you still feel very solid. And that's where I ended it.
Well,
Wow.
they say where
Yeah.
the spirits are heavy at is where you find very strong synchronicities, and we got those in spades,
Yeah.
baby. Well,
Some
Amazing.
everyone,
mornings, Wayne, we wake up with the same song in our head. I mean,
exactly. I mean,
it happens.
Yeah.
wow.
You write on the bottom of your notes there that are just absolutely sublime. And so after the 369, because you mentioned all the threes, that's what the pyramid is, the 369. It's a conduit of the 369.
You
So
know what
right
else
on
369 is? 369 was the evolution to the quantum field, which humanity had
yeah,
never seen in thousands of years. So the 369 is the building of the quantumness of you, the quantum field, the observer, the
yeah,
Trinity.
yeah. I
Yeah.
love that
Donna
for you.
Sabina says, check out the 7 steps to alchemy.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, that
Those are
hour
awesome.
went by. We do so good on time travel here.
Yeah, Scotty boy, I wrote that about 4 days ago. That just
Yeah.
flew out of my I have like books of that just
I love mine.
it
Yeah.
never stops. It never stops. It just goes and
No.
goes and goes.
Got to write it out, haven't you? Otherwise, you would go a bit crazy or look a bit neurotic. I'm like that because if I don't, there's notebooks all along then. If I don't do that, and I'm smiling because I recognize that writing and the squiggling, and because
Yeah,
you get it out. If you don't get it out, you would fill up too
it
much.
doesn't stop.
Smiling,
Right.
it would pop open. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I got to put it on the paper because then it stops in my consciousness. I'm like, I hear
Oh,
this,
yeah.
I got it. But once
Yeah.
I write it down, then I get relief. It just, I feel like, okay, now it's there. And for whatever reason, they told me when you receive this inspiration, write it down because it operates with the two different sides of my brain. So one is the logic and one is the spirit. So they're saying integrate both. So you must write this down. So yeah, I can't, those won't stop for me until I put the pen to
Yeah, yeah.
paper. Yeah.
True, true. Yeah, love it.
And that's why everyone tunes in each
Yeah.
Tuesday. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
This is a special place, and this show, I mean, holy crap, we could do a documentary on it, but most people won't sit for over, how many shows? 200, something like that.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
just keep on hitting them out. Well,
Yeah.
thank you too. Y'all are just,
Thank you.
as they would say in the South, y'all are just lovely.
Well, you
Yeah.
all are lovely too.
No.
Y'all are quite beautiful, and I can tell you, I know so many beautiful people. As I see, Jackie says, "Nothing missing, nothing broken." Hello, Marie. So,
Mm.
Lady Haley, good to see you. So, thank you, ladies. We'll see you next Tuesday, and I'm sure that whatever happens between now and then, it ain't going to be the same reality that we have right now.
Yeah, so
Shifting.
let's make it what we want and let's take control of the water because that's the power of soul. And when
This was a good show
yeah,
today.
yeah, do
There
it.
there's some entrepreneur opportunities in what we said today. I have no doubt that if we could actually do this and then begin to do blind studies just to see what happens with people, this is the kind of stuff that
I'm
revolutionizes.
on.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
exactly.
I've
Before
already
you know
seen
it, we'll
it.
be
I've
approached by a
already
pharmaceutical company saying, "We'll buy that from you."
no, no, they
You see,
won't.
that's my point, saying
No, they
no,
won't. My friends that, yeah,
yeah,
no, I know friend. No, no, no. This will
uh.
be for the ones who want to do
That's the
good.
dark wizards. When I think of the
Yes.
pharmaceutical companies, they're the cats that I look because that industry is controlled by a god or
It's
a
even the
demigod.
symbol on their coat. Hello,
Yeah,
the
I mean,
serpent.
Yeah. Yeah. I
it's
was
like,
laughing the other day because they told us that there is so much cocaine in the fish now that we should
Yeah.
limit how much fish we're eating. And I was like, I put the comment of street pharmacists everywhere working out how to take out the cocaine from the fish again and resell it. Can you imagine street pharmacist dealers, like
Wow.
they would everywhere will be looking as to, so how do we get that back out again? Or, lots of people all of a sudden eating lots of fish, to get their fix.
woo, man, it brings the whole
Wow.
idea of eating sushi with a whole new level, doesn't it?
It
Instead of
scared the
snorting
shit
it,
out of me. My mom's allergic to cane. So if that gets to
Jeez.
her, it'll kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Mm,
would kill her. Yeah.
dangerous.
All right,
Holy
ladies.
shit.
Love
Love you
y'all.
all. Love you,
Love
Chair.
all of y'all who are listening. Thank you for hitting the like button on the way out. Leave your comments, and we speak favor over you once again. Make it a phenomenal day. Love the person next to you,
Yeah.
and that's usually you.
Yeah.
Jenny, Trina, much love to you, ladies.
Love you.